Good evening, and welcome to Channel 19 News. My name is Luke Hagan, and we'll be bringing you the latest information on the Cuban Missile Crisis. A third scene of the crisis that started October 14th. The Cuban Missile Crisis was sparked from the failed Bay of Pigs invasion. When the U.S. troops invaded Cuba, we were expected to have a clean victory, but instead, it has only brought us more trouble. The failed Bay of Pigs invasion, the United States is now facing nuclear weapons that Russia is placing in Cuba. They have been saying that the United States has placed Jupiter ballistic missiles in Turkey and Italy, which has partially provoked Russia to do this act. The States, Italy, and Turkey are all supported by NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. However, on the other end of the spectrum, Cuba and Russia are supported by the Warsaw Pact. Cuba has requested help from Russia, so the United States would not further harass them. This prompted Russia to place these missiles in Cuba, leading to where we are today. Now, the United States and Soviet Union are at the brink of nuclear war. Here's an update on the real threat of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The missiles that the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republic placed in Cuba are Soviet R-12 intermediate nuclear ballistic missiles. The operational range of this missile is 2,080 kilometers and can fly at speeds as fast as 2,570 meters per second. This will give most Americans a 5-minute warning before impact of the missile. Seeing a photo of the USSR's nuclear arsenal. We will now be heading over to our field reporter in New York City, Nick Straub.
Hello, I'm Nick Straub, and today I'm in Central Park here with
Sam Wanamaker.
So let's get right into it. So Sam, tell me, have you been following the news lately?
I have.
So you have been following the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I actually have been following the Cuban Missile Crisis.
So, how do you feel about the current relations between the U.S. and the Soviet Union?
Well, I'm very nervous and fearing for my life, and I am praying that the Soviet Union will realize that it's a very, very bad decision to drop the bomb on the United States.
Well spoken. So what do you think the outcome will be?
Well, if the Soviets do launch the missiles, I think it will turn into a war. But if they don't and they remove the missiles, I think everything will be okay.
Thank you. This has been Nick Straub and Sam Wanamaker. Thank you. And
Now, we will move on to our leaders and how exactly they are reacting to this situation. Union leader Nikita Khrushchev was born on April 17, 1894. From 1953 until today, he has been the first secretary of the Communist Party. Discussing Stalin's crimes, he began the process of de-Stalinization. This is the political reform which was undertook after Stalin's death. This made Soviet government less oppressive. He then began to reform communism in Russia. Before started, Khrushchev handled it very calmly. However, upon the Cuban Missile Crisis, he acted more aggressively. Deciding to place missiles in Cuba for the upper hand in missile warfare, the United States stopped them by using an embargo. To place missiles in Cuba, Khrushchev stood firm against Kennedy and expected him to back down. Kennedy did not back down. Upon realizing this, Khrushchev retreated and decided to make an agreement with the United States. This was only because the possibility of nuclear war was real. This retreat painted a bad image politically for Khrushchev because it hadn't favored the Soviet Union.
Castro, the Cuban leader, was born on August 13, 1926. He was the third of 6 children. In 1956, Castro used guerrilla warfare to overthrow the Cuban leader and become prime minister. In 1961, Cuban exiles invaded Cuba at the Bay of Pigs in an attempt to overthrow Castro. This attempt failed and Castro remained in power. This summer, Castro accepted the Soviet Union's offer to install missiles in Cuba as a deterrent to the United States invasion. Fidel Castro has been begging Khrushchev to defend Cuba and deny Kennedy's demands to remove the missiles. Cuba felt betrayed when the Soviets agreed to withdraw the missiles. Overall, Castro was not happy with the United States or the Soviet Union.
hello, I'm Nick Straub, and today I'm here to talk to you about our American leader, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born on May 29, 1917. He was born in Brookline, Massachusetts. Kennedy was one of 9 children, and as a young boy he received the nickname Jack. As a child, he suffered from many diseases, including whooping cough, measles, chickenpox, and scarlet fever. John Fitzgerald Kennedy officially became our president on November 8, 1960. Kennedy sent a U-2 spy plane to capture photos of the missiles placed in Cuba recently. He then placed a naval blockade around Cuba to prevent the Soviets from bringing military supplies. Here is a shortened clip of President John F. Kennedy's speech addressing the American public on the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere. Only last Thursday, as evidence of this rapid offensive buildup was already in my hand, Soviet Foreign Minister Gromyko told me in my office that he was instructed to make it clear once again, as he said his government had already done, that Soviet assistance to Cuba, and I quote, pursued solely the purpose of contributing.
Now, we'll be bringing it over live with Rosalie DeSenza and a United States citizen to a bunker.
Hi, Luke. Thanks again. This is Rosalie DeSenza here in an underground bunker with... Luke, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm just afraid we're gonna get bombed and all die, so, I'm safer in here in this metal container.
Are you truly confident this will happen?
Well, I'm pretty sure since, Cuban Missile Crisis, it's all very scary, and it's frightening, and I like to feel, a sense of comfort in this.
I see. Well, how much money did it cost you or the people who actually
Well,
built
it cost me, 80 grand to build, so, luckily, a few of my friends put their money in and we made it.
Oh,
Yeah, I have friends.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Now, get back to the news.
Yep.
Thanks, Rosalie. That interview was rich and insightful. After the upcoming break, we'll be bringing you more news.
Here we have a limited edition Marine Corps 230th anniversary silver dollar. There have only been 75 of this type issued. As you can see, it is in mint condition. Here we have a solid 24 karat silver pin to top off the beautiful velvet pouch it sits in. When you open the seal up, you find a beautiful all-silver Marines coin dust protected in a clear case. You can buy this gem for just $24,994.95. This is a limited offer, so buy it while it lasts.
Buy it now!
This offer is going quickly. Get yours today. Breaking news. President John F. Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev have just reached an agreement putting an end to the Cuban Missile Crisis. This agreement states that Khrushchev removes his missiles from Cuba immediately. Then, on the United States end of the stick, JFK agreed to never harass Cuba or 10 other countries again. This was about being directly provoked, although. Also, a nuclear hotline will be set up between the White House and the Kremlin. The Kremlin is the equivalent to the United States Pentagon. It seems to be a win-win for both sides, including the United States of America and the USSR. But in the eyes of Khrushchev, it shows weakness and failure. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hello. These past 2 weeks have been stressful times for most of the American public. And we, at Channel 19 News, hope that we brought you the highest quality of broadcasts. Here at Channel 19, we stride ourselves on safe, friendly, and high-quality news. We appreciate your ongoing support and thank you for being a part of the Channel 19 family. Stay classy.